This is what change actually looks like. Hi, I'm Dave Ruby, and this video is about sustainable change. And this is actually both a metaphor and it's also a happy, sweet fraction plate. It's got a little moose on it too and everything. Point being, when we talk about hypnosis and hypnotic change, we often expect things to be big and radical shifts, or else we don't think it actually worked. So I'll use weightlifting as an analogy and also sort of an example for change. A lot of times people, when they're in the gym for the first time, they'll want to do as much weight and lift as heavy as they possibly can, and it doesn't always work out the best. So what we tend to want to do is we often tend to want to grab a bunch of these and put them on the bar because sure, we can lift that, and maybe, but what you find is if you actually start with as heavy as you can do and you start adding these guys on, what you'll find is that the weights tend to stall pretty quickly. Either they don't go up or they only go down if you're underneath them, which is bad. So what you actually should do is start with a very measured goal or measured starting point. And you start from a place where you do what you can do, and then you go up in smaller increments. So in practical terms, for weightlifting, you would go up in 5 or 10 pounds usually, until you weren't able to go up that much, and then you'd start to go into smaller weights like these guys. This is a little 1 pound barbell plate. Now what I find is that if you take these to the gym, they're not the sexiest thing to have in your gym bag, and people don't really get too impressed when you bring these out of your bag, but they let you make progress. Because if you start putting on something like this and you can't make progress, that's not going to be as good in the long run or short run as doing something smaller that allows you to keep making change. Now that's true in lots of goals. It's true literally in weightlifting. You can only lift so much, and you tend to only be able to go up in certain weight amounts. And sometimes that's more than others, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's less. That's also true in weight loss. It's common for people to drop a pound a week. Sometimes you'll drop 5 pounds a week. Sometimes you won't drop any. And again, that's based on physiology like water weight or just how the body's functioning, monthly cycles, etc., etc. But I would challenge the notion that hypnosis has to be big and change and instant or it doesn't work. Because some goals are going to require more of a process. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It means that any kind of progress that's sustainable is going to be better than no change at all. So if you think about the barbell plate, if you think about 1 pounds, if you're able to add or subtract 1 pound based on, let's say, weight loss or weightlifting, if you added 1 pound every week for a year or subtracted 1 pound a week for a year, at the end of the year, that's going to be a lot of weight added or subtracted depending on what you're doing. That's a big change. Even just a 1/4 pound, if you could have a 1/4 pound of change every week for the rest of your life, sustainable, reliably, that would be huge. And it wouldn't look like much. It wouldn't feel like much. But over time, you'd find that the actual end result's going to be pretty much astronomical. Or at least very significant, in a very literal sort of sense. So I'd ask you to consider any kind of change being positive. It's not about making big leaps necessarily, and sometimes you absolutely will get those. But it's more about what is possible for you and what can be done to be sustainable over time. So if you have any questions or comments, then please leave those in the comments below. But just consider what are all the changes you haven't been noticing, and maybe reconsider what might be success for you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.